Yo, what's good, y'all? Pull up close because what just went down in the rap game is pure chaos and you are not ready for this. 50 Cent is out here losing his entire mind after Rick Ross decided to publicly destroy the biggest project of the year. The one that had the whole culture buzzing with Eminem and real unreleased Tupac vocals for that Street Fighter movie. Ross didn't just throw shade, he straight up told 50 to let Pac rest in peace after 30 years and then laughed at the idea of linking with Eminem like it was some kind of joke. Fans are already in total shock, timelines are melting, and the streets are saying 50 went nuclear behind the scenes. Emotions are running higher than ever. People close to him claim he watched that clip on repeat and the silence that followed was louder than any diss track. This ain't regular beef no more. This is personal. This is legacy. This is somebody crossing a line that was never supposed to be crossed. Stick around because the full story of how 50 snapped, the heated calls that followed, the unexpected betrayals, and the moment everything almost fell apart is about to drop, and trust me, you have never seen anything like this before. The moment Rick Ross hit that record button and let those words fly, the entire culture shifted in real time. 50 Cent had just finished his appearance on the Today Show looking sharp as ever, talking about the Street Fighter project like it was the second coming of Get Rich or Die Trying. He stood there in front of the cameras and told the world he had Eminem locked in and real unreleased Tupac vocals cleared by the estate, no AI, no gimmicks, just pure Pac from the vault. The clip went viral in minutes. G-Unit soldiers were already in the comments talking about history being made, and Eminem fans were losing their minds over the idea of another collab after all these years. Then Ross decided he needed to speak. He pulled up on Instagram Live with that same smug energy he always carries when he thinks he is about to cook somebody and said the words that would light the fuse. I heard you say you finna release new music with Eminem and Tupac. Pac been dead 30 years. Let the man rest in peace. And Eminem, come on now, Curtis. The way he said Curtis with that little laugh at the end felt personal. It was not just shade, it was a direct attack on the project 50 had been protecting for months. Within hours the video had millions of views and the comment section turned into a war zone. Some people were agreeing with Ross, saying Pac should not be touched, others were calling Ross a hypocrite for every time he used a dead legend for clout. But the real explosion was happening behind closed doors. Sources close to 50 Cent started leaking that the moment he saw the clip he went completely silent. No stories, no posts, no jokes, just pure ice-cold quiet. One person who was in the room that night said Curtis watched the video 3 times in a row without saying a word, then got up, walked to the window and just stared out for almost 20 minutes. When he finally spoke, his voice was low and dangerous. He really said that about Pac. He really went there. The people around him knew that tone. That was the same tone that ended careers and started wars that lasted years. 50 did not call Ross out immediately. He did something worse. He started making calls. First he hit up people close to the Tupac estate to confirm everything was still solid. Then he reached out to Eminem camp just to make sure nobody was catching feelings from the shade. But the real conversation happened when he dialed one of his oldest G-Unit soldiers. The phone call was heated from the first second. 50 was pacing the room, voice rising with every sentence. This nigga really tried to clown the whole project like Tupac is some punchline. 30 years and he wants to tell me to let him rest. I cleared it with the estate. They loved it. And now this fat motherfucker wants to act like he is the protector of Pac legacy. The soldier on the other end tried to calm him down, telling him to let the music do the talking, but 50 was not hearing it. Emotions were running higher than they had in years. This was not about sales or empty seats or any of the usual back and forth. This felt deeper. This felt like somebody had reached into the vault and tried to spit on something sacred. Later that same night another leak came out. Apparently 50 had a private meeting with a few of his closest people and the conversation got so intense that one of them walked out of the room. The argument was about whether to respond or stay silent. One side was saying drop the song and watch Ross look stupid. The other side was saying this needs a direct response because the streets are watching. 50 allegedly slammed his hand on the table and said, if anybody thinks I'm going to let this slide, they do not know me. Fans online were already picking sides. Some were posting old clips of Ross using Pac samples and calling him a fraud. Others were saying 50 was too sensitive and that Ross was just being honest. The family was left divided too. People close to both camps started talking and the tension was thick. One source claimed that someone from Ross camp reached out to 50 people trying to smooth things over, but the message never even made it to Curtis. He had already made up his mind. The project that was supposed to be a celebration of legends was now sitting in the middle of a full-blown war. And the worst part was that nobody knew how far 50 was willing to go. Some people around him started whispering that he was talking about pulling the song completely just to prove a point. Others said he was planning something bigger, something that would make Ross regret every word. The streets were on edge. Timelines were filled with theories and screenshots and old beef clips. Emotions ran high on every side. Fans who grew up on both artists were caught in the middle, not knowing who to support. One longtime G-Unit supporter posted a video of himself almost in tears saying, "This is bigger than music, this is about respect for the ones who are not here." Meanwhile, on the other side, Ross fans were laughing and saying 50 was soft for getting this pressed over few words. The drama was only beginning. Behind the scenes, the calls kept coming. 50 allegedly spoke to someone who used to be close to Tupac, and the conversation got emotional. The person told him that Pac would have never wanted his name used in a petty beef, but also that nobody had the right to tell another artist what to do with cleared material. That conversation left 50 even more locked in. He started telling people around him that Ross had crossed a line that could not be uncrossed. The silence from 50 camp was becoming louder than any response. Days passed and still nothing public. No Instagram stories, no cryptic posts, just that same heavy quiet that made everybody nervous. Then the first real crack appeared. A video leaked to 50 in the studio late at night, headphones on, staring at the screen with a look that fans immediately called the murder face. The clip was only 10 seconds long, but it was enough to send the internet into another frenzy. People started saying he was recording a response. Others claimed he was about to scrap the whole Eminem Tupac record out of pure spite. The speculation was wild. One account with inside connections posted that 50 had already spoken to the movie people and told them there might be a delay. Another said the estate was getting nervous about the attention. Every new rumor made the temperature rise higher. Friends of both artists were getting pulled into the middle. Some were trying to play peacemaker while others were adding fuel. One particular conversation between a mutual acquaintance and Ross allegedly went left when the person mentioned that 50 was taking it personal. Ross supposedly laughed and said he is always taking something personal, that is why he is always in some mess. When that quote made its way back to 50, the reaction was immediate and intense. Sources say he called an emergency meeting with his core team and the energy in the room was pure fire. He was not yelling at first. He was calm in that scary way. Then the calm broke. He started going down a list of every time Ross had used someone else's name for clout, every time he had switched up, every time he had talked tough and then backed down. The people in the room said it felt like watching a man build a case for war. One of them tried to interrupt and suggest waiting until the song dropped, but 50 cut him off hard. He said waiting is what soft people do. I did not get here by waiting. The tension in that room was so thick that two people later admitted they were scared of where this was heading. Outside the walls, the fans were living every second of it. Comment sections turned into battlegrounds. Old interviews were being dug up. Side-by-side clips of both men talking about loyalty and respect were flooding timelines. The family was left divided in ways that surprised even the people closest to the situation. Some longtime supporters of 50 started questioning if the project was worth all this heat. Others doubled down harder than ever. On Ross' side, the energy was mostly laughter and memes, but underneath it there was a quiet nervousness. A few people close to him started telling him to leave the Tupac talk alone because that name still carried weight that could turn on anybody. But Ross kept the same energy, posting stories and acting unbothered. The contrast only made the situation more explosive. Every hour without a public response from 50 made the theories grow wilder. Some said he was planning a full documentary-style video breakdown. Others claimed he was about to pull Eminem into the drama publicly. A few even started saying the whole Street Fighter song might never see the light of day because of this. The emotional weight was heavy. This was not just two rappers going back and forth. This was about legacy, about respect, about who gets to speak on the names of the ones who built the culture. And right in the middle of it all, 50 Cent was sitting with the power to either drop the biggest record of the year or burn the whole thing down out of pure principle. The people around him could feel the decision coming. They could feel that something big was about to happen. And the longer the silence lasted, the more the entire culture held its breath, waiting for the moment 50 finally opened his mouth and let the real response fly. The silence finally cracked, but not in the way anybody expected. 3 days after Rick Ross dropped that live, the first real move came from 50 Cent, and it was colder than anything he had done in years. He did not post a video. He did not hop on a live. He sent a message through the one person who still had a direct line to both camps. The message was short and final. Tell that man the project is still coming, and when it drops, every word he said is going to look like the biggest L of his career. But the real heat was in the second part of the message that only a few people heard. 50 allegedly added that if Ross ever mentioned Tupac name in the same sentence as his again, there would be consequences that went beyond music. The messenger who delivered it later told people the look on Ross' face when he heard those words was pure shock mixed with something that looked a lot like fear. For the first time, the laughter stopped. Behind the scenes, the situation was getting messier by the hour. Eminem camp had already been contacted, and the response that came back was not what 50 wanted to hear. According to multiple sources, Marshall was not happy about being dragged into another public circus. One person close to the situation said Eminem people told 50 camp that the verse was already recorded and cleared, but if this beef kept growing they might have to rethink the rollout. That news hit 50 like a punch to the chest. The project he had been protecting suddenly had a crack in the foundation, and the man who caused it was still posting memes like nothing happened. The emotional conflict inside 50 was visible to the people around him. One longtime friend described watching him sit in the studio staring at the rough mix of the Tupac and Eminem record with his head in his hands. He kept saying the same thing over and over. This was supposed to be bigger than all the noise. This was supposed to be for the culture. Now it feels tainted. The friend tried to remind him that the estate had already given the blessing and that the music would outlast any temporary drama, but 50 was not listening. He was locked in on the disrespect. That same night another twist dropped that nobody saw coming. A video from an old Ross interview started circulating where he was praising Tupac and talking about how the culture needed to protect the legends. Fans immediately put it side by side with the recent live, and the contrast was brutal. The comment section turned into pure chaos. People who had been defending Ross started flipping. One popular page posted the two clips with the caption, "He really said let Pac rest," after years of using the name for clout. The pressure was mounting on both sides. Then the family drama kicked in hard. People close to 50 started talking about how the situation was affecting more than just the music. One relative who usually stays far away from the public beef allegedly called 50 and told him to let it go because the stress was becoming too much. The conversation turned heated fast. 50 supposedly raised his voice and said, "This is not about stress, this is about principle. Nobody gets to spit on Pac name and walk away clean, especially not somebody who has been switching sides his whole career." The relative hung up, and the fallout from that call spread through the inner circle. Suddenly people who had been united were picking sides inside the same camp. Some felt 50 was taking it too far and risking the biggest record of the year. Others felt Ross had crossed a sacred line and needed to be handled. The division was real and it was getting personal. Meanwhile, on the other side of the city, Ross was dealing with his own pressure. Sources say a few of his closest people pulled him aside and told him the Tupac comment was a mistake. They warned him that certain names still carried weight that could turn the whole streets against him if he was not careful. Ross allegedly brushed it off at first, saying 50 is always looking for a reason to be mad. But the longer the silence from 50 camp continued, the more nervous the people around Ross became. One of them later admitted they started deleting old posts that mentioned Pac just in case the heat came back around. The tension reached another level when a mutual friend tried to set up a private call between the two men. The friend thought he could play peacemaker and end the whole thing before it got worse. The call lasted less than 4 minutes. According to the person who was on the line, 50 spoke first and his voice was pure ice. "You had the whole world to talk about and you chose to put Pac name in your mouth like that." Ross tried to laugh it off, saying it was just talk and that 50 was too sensitive. That was the moment the call went left. 50 cut him off and said, "The next time you mention that name it will not be a conversation." The line went dead. The mutual friend later told people he had never heard 50 sound like that. It was not the usual aggressive energy. It was something colder and more final. Word of the failed call spread fast and the rumors started flying again. Some said 50 was about to pull the entire Street Fighter record out of pure spite. Others claimed he was in the studio recording a full response that would end the whole back and forth for good. Fans were living every second of it. Timelines were filled with theories and old clips and emotional posts from people who grew up on both artists. One fan page that usually stayed neutral posted a long message saying this beef is hurting the culture more than helping it. The family was left divided in public too. Longtime supporters of both men were arguing in comment sections like it was personal. Some were saying 50 needed to drop the song and rise above. Others were saying Ross needed to apologize for using a dead legend as a punchline. The emotional stakes kept rising. Then another unexpected twist hit. A source close to the Tupac estate released a quiet statement through back channels saying they were still fully behind the project and that the clearance had never been in question. That should have been good news, but it only made the situation more complicated. Now 50 had the official blessing and still felt like the project had been stained by Ross' words. The internal conflict grew deeper. People around him said he started talking about changing the rollout completely, maybe even holding the song until the movie was closer just to keep it away from the current heat. The idea of delaying something that big sent another wave of panic through the people who had been working on it for months. One of the producers allegedly called 50 and begged him not to let the drama kill the moment. The conversation got emotional. The producer told him this record could be historic and that letting Ross get in his head would be giving him exactly what he wanted. 50 listened, but the look on his face told everybody he was still not convinced. Outside the walls, the fans kept the pressure on. Every new leak, every new rumor made the temperature climb higher. Some people started saying the whole thing felt bigger than a regular rap beef. It felt like a fight over who got to speak for the ones who were no longer here. And right in the middle of it, 50 Cent was carrying the weight of that decision alone. The longer he stayed quiet, the more the entire culture projected their own feelings onto the silence. Some saw strength. Some saw stubbornness. Some saw a man who was about to risk everything over principle. The people closest to him could feel the next move coming. They could feel that the calm was about to break in a way nobody would forget. And when it finally did, the fallout was going to reach further than anybody expected. The breaking point came on a random Thursday night when nobody expected it. 50 Cent finally stepped out of the silence, and the way he did it left the entire culture stunned. He did not post a long caption. He did not hop on a live ranting. He dropped a simple story that stayed up for less than 20 minutes, but the damage was permanent. The story showed a screenshot of the original Rick Ross live with one line typed over it in bold letters. Some things you do not get to walk back. Underneath it was a second slide that simply said the record is still coming, and when it drops the streets will remember who tried to kill it before it breathed. The internet exploded in real time. Fans who had been waiting for any sign of life from 50 Camp lost their minds. Comment sections filled with fire emojis and old war clips and pure emotion. But the real chaos started when people close to the situation began leaking what happened in the hours before that story went up. According to multiple sources, 50 had one final private conversation that changed everything. It was with someone who had known both him and Tupac from the early days. The conversation was emotional and heavy. The person told 50 that Pac name should never be used as a weapon in any beef, and that the only way to honor the clearance the estate gave was to let the music speak louder than the noise. At first, 50 pushed back hard. He said the disrespect was too public to ignore. The older voice on the other end stayed calm and asked him one question that allegedly stopped him cold. If Pac was here right now, would he want the record held back because of one man talking reckless? Sources say 50 went quiet for a long time after that. When he finally spoke again, his tone was different. He said the song would drop. He said the project would live. But he also said Ross would never get the satisfaction of thinking the words had no consequences. That same night the story went up and the message was clear. The record was protected. The disrespect was noted. And the war was not over, it had just changed shape. The reaction from Ross camp was immediate and messy. People close to him said he watched the story on repeat, and for the first time the usual confidence was missing. One source claimed Ross tried to laugh it off in the room, but the people around him could see the shift. A few of them started telling him the Tupac comment had been a mistake from the beginning, and that the longer this stayed alive the worse it would look. Ross allegedly snapped back, saying he was not about to apologize for speaking his mind. The tension inside his own circle started rising. Meanwhile, the fans were living every second like it was a movie. Timelines turned into pure emotion. Some people posted long messages saying 50 had handled it the right way by protecting the music. Others said the silence and the short story were more deadly than any diss track could have been. The family was left divided in public once again. Longtime supporters of both men argued in comment sections with a level of passion that showed how deep this had cut. One fan who grew up on G Unit and also respected Ross posted a video with tears in his eyes saying this beef is bigger than both of them now, it is about how we treat the names of the ones who are gone. The emotional weight kept climbing. Then another twist hit that nobody predicted. A quiet message started circulating from people connected to the Street Fighter side. They confirmed the song was still on schedule and that the recent drama had not changed the plan. That should have cooled things down, but it only added fuel. Now the record had an official release window, and every day leading up to it would be filled with the same tension. 50 allegedly told his team that the rollout would be clean and focus on the music, but the people around him knew the personal side was still burning. One of them later admitted that 50 had a private playlist of every old Ross interview and every time he had switched up, and that the folder was still growing. The streets could feel that the public chapter might be closing, but the private one was far from over. Friends who tried to reach out to both sides found themselves in the middle of emotional conflicts they never asked for. One mutual acquaintance said he got off the phone with 50 and felt the weight of years of history in every word. Another said Ross was still brushing it off, but the people closest to him were starting to worry about the long-term damage to his image. The drama had become bigger than the original comment. It had become a referendum on respect, on legacy, on who gets to speak for the culture when the legends are no longer here to speak for themselves. And through it all, the song that started everything was still sitting in the vault waiting for its moment. Fans kept refreshing pages and checking timelines like the next update could drop at any second. Some were already picking the exact date they believed the record would land. Others were saying the real response from 50 was still coming and that the story was only the beginning. The unresolved questions hung heavy in the air. Would the song hit the way it was supposed to, or would the drama follow it forever? Would Ross ever address the moment directly, or keep the same energy until the streets moved on? Would the people around both men be able to put the personal feelings aside once the music dropped? Nobody had clear answers, and that uncertainty kept the entire conversation alive. Emotions ran high on every side. The family remained divided. The fans stayed locked in. And the culture waited to see what would happen when the record finally saw the light of day. Now the full picture is in front of you. 50 Cent took the disrespect, protected the project, and left the door open for whatever comes next, while Rick Ross tried to stand on words that may end up defining him in ways he never planned. The song is still coming. The tension is still real. And the streets are still watching every move. If you made it all the way through this, then you already know how heavy this moment is. Drop your honest thoughts in the comments right now. Do you think 50 handled it the right way, or should he have gone all the way in? Is Ross going to feel this for a long time, or will the music make everybody forget? Let the discussion start below. Make sure you hit that like button if this story had you locked in from the first second, and subscribe with the notifications on so you never miss the next chapter when it drops. The culture moves fast, and the next update could change everything again. We will be right here when it does.